license of the public policy think tank Center for Policy Research. This comes amid the entire controversy around George Soros, and this is what ANI has reported, that there has been action that's been taken on the FCRA front against the Center for Policy Research, which is a public policy think tank. This is also a follow-up action following the fact that income tax authorities had conducted surveys on the Center for Policy Research last year, and it remains to be seen about the exact circumstances under which this action under the FCRA license or the FCRA provisions has been initiated against CPR. We'll also, of course, report any response that the CPR would have to offer pertaining to this action that's been initiated currently against it. Now, George Soros has also, of course, been under scrutiny with respect to certain remarks that he's made in the past about India, talking about the possibility of a regime change and a resurgence of democracy, as he described it, in this country. Since then, several people from the Indian government have spoken out against these pronouncements on the part of Mr. Soros, and have also sought greater scrutiny over some of the NGOs that his organizations and his entities have funded in the past. And the FCRA action that's now been initiated with respect to the Center for Policy Research, it remains to be seen is whether or not a consequence of that particular comment and the fallout of what was said. However, we'll wait for official confirmation with respect to the exact precise nature of the action that's been taken, as well as any comment that the Center for Policy Research might have to offer. Now, the CPR was surveyed by income tax authorities in 2022 as well, and it was reported that the FCRA license of the CPR has currently been revoked, at least for the time being, on the part of the Ministry of Home Affairs, which is, of course, the nodal organization with respect to the foreign funding of NGOs. Let me go across to Meghna Dekha, who has some more updates with respect to the action that's been taken. Meghna, what are the circumstances under which this action has been initiated against the Center for Policy Research, and what's the explanation that's been coming from the government?
Well, so far, Siddharth, we are still awaiting for the specific alleged flouting of the FCRA norms, which is the reason, allegedly, why the FCRA license now has been cancelled. However, there are those within CPR who are saying that they've already applied for a renewal, but then we are still awaiting for a confirmation of that to come in from the authorities per se. However, interestingly, what we managed to access here on Times Now, this is the Center for Policy Research Center, the balance sheet of all the contributions which have been coming in. Remember, there are those who are saying it is also foreign funding, which is one of the reasons. The FCRA is essentially the foreign contributions that any organization in India has the license to receive and the way that it must be used, which is why it's important to see what the antecedents of the funding of CSR has been, which is why we are looking at CPR, I beg your pardon, the balance sheet that they themselves have made. This is on the 31st of March 2022. And if we scroll down, there are, of course, several such people who have been giving grants to CPR. But one interesting name here which is going to crop up, and someone who has been in name, is right here, Namati Environmental Justice. Namati, remember, is one of the NGOs which is funded by Soros and his Open Society. Soros and Open Society, Siddharth, as you remember, is one of the organizations which has been under the lens as well, because there have been those who have said that Soros is carrying out, as per even India's top mantris, a concerted effort to target India. He himself